Let me ask you, in the world of transfers, we've seen what's unfolded last night and into this morning. Liverpool wanted Caicedo from Brighton. They didn't get him. Chelsea got him. Paid a fortune for him. Liverpool wanted Romeo Lavia from Southampton. Didn't get him. Chelsea are going to get him. Liverpool wanted the boy. And Carragher, on Liverpool's transfer business, Jimmy Carragher, saying it's a joke. It's embarrassing. And when it came to Romeo Lavia, he said they put in a bid for Lavia for 60 million, even when they refused to pay 50 million 4 or 5 days ago. He says it's been an absolute mess. So they no matter how high the bid was and how much they increased it, Lavia was always going to choose Chelsea. So what's happening?
So what's Jamie's point?
Well, he says their business is all over the shop. Their strategy is all over the shop. The bottom line is this: why are players deciding that Liverpool, for all its heritage,
that's the bigger question,
and trophies,
but that's the bigger question. That's the bigger question that Jamie's not addressing. It's all well and good throwing around, superlatives about what people aren't doing and criticising and going to the point of the fact that it's a mess. What would you have them do differently? Liverpool are no longer an island, and none of these football clubs are. They are the top 6 clubs, of which Chelsea often feature amongst, and certainly in performance terms over the last 20 years have definitely featured, are in the conversation, in the equation. So what would you have them do differently? They went in for a player. The player has chosen to go to Chelsea. The question has to abound: why is that? Okay, is the Klopp factor diminished? Because you would have expected a player to be massively impressed by Klopp. So if you price Klopp into the equation, because if you're going to throw these superlatives around or these criticisms around, you need to throw it around at everybody, right? Because Klopp doesn't have a draw factor. Liverpool last year weren't particularly in good nick, but then again, neither were Chelsea. Do people want to play for Pochettino rather than Klopp? Does Liverpool and its achievements and the way that it play not necessarily suit certain players? Because we know that certain players that play for Jurgen Klopp find it difficult to play at the levels he wants them to play at, and we know that Liverpool are rebuilding. I just think it's a fact of the ecosystem now. There are lots of other people that have just as much lure as Liverpool, and you're going to have to be very quick, very early, very prepared. The Moises Caicedo debate was had yesterday by us, suggesting that Chelsea had stole a march on Liverpool by getting into the player early, in the same way that Liverpool stole a march on Lucas Diaz when Tottenham tried to get their noses in the trough this time last year, or a little bit earlier than that, and Liverpool used their lustre to say, no, I don't think so, you're coming to us.
Right.
And I don't think it's fair to say it's a mess. You've signed a World Cup winner. I know that these things get thrown around because it creates attention and eyes on the prize, and we do similar things. But I would like to understand what you would have them do differently.
Well, they've known for a while that Henderson's gone to Saudi. That's Jimmy's point is that the biggest problem about Liverpool is that they've known they needed midfield reinforcement since about August last season.
Fine, Jamie.
12 months ago.
Who are the 5 candidates that you would advocate for in the advent that you can't get the player that they've tried for? They've tried to go for Moises Caicedo, they can't get him. They've tried to go for Latvia, they can't get him. Now, my understanding of it was that Chelsea want both, but Liverpool wanted one or the other, right? And they've got neither. Right? And you have to ask yourself why that is, because the economies of the scale of the deal, Liverpool have come to the table.
Yeah, but Liverpool had 3 bids for Lavia turned down.
Well, sometimes you don't go out with a girl and get a kiss on the first date or something else. Sometimes you have to go out on several dates.
Yeah, but Liverpool wanted to bid. Boom, 115. That'll do it, and it did.
Who? Liverpool.
Chelsea.
Well, yeah, and so did Liverpool. In terms of Caicedo, that Liverpool went in and were aggressive and put their price at a certain parameter, a ridiculous price, I might add, and the beneficiaries of that were Brighton. But that's good luck to Brighton. But the point is great that they're getting the bigger clubs to have to pay for things. If you want to pillage other people's football clubs and other people's endeavours, at least pay for it, and that's great. I like that. Yeah. But the point is that the boy was the Liverpool thought that they would have the lure to be able to get into that equation late. Everybody in football knows that this boy was being courted by Chelsea for some time. So they've stolen a march. Now, whether the agents are being manipulated, whether there's something more in it for the agents that are helping the player, or whether it is entirely a football decision, whether it's a geographical decision, there's some things that are immutable. If someone doesn't want to live in the north of England and wants to stay in the south, then you're not going to be able to overcome that, especially if you're a club that's got comparable wealth, comparable achievements, comparable positioning. Chelsea ain't Liverpool. Chelsea are not Liverpool, and neither are Man City. That Liverpool and Man United are legacy clubs. These other clubs like Chelsea and Man City are building up their achievements to be ranked at the table with the royalty of football. But that was notwithstanding, players don't look at it that way now. They don't remember Graeme Souness. They don't remember Alan Hansen. They don't remember the dominance of Liverpool in the 70s and 80s. They look around the landscape of the Premier League and go, where suits me best economically? Where suits me best geographically? Who suits me best management-wise? And what suits my pocket best? And if Liverpool somehow don't tick all those 4 boxes, then Liverpool's history is off the table.
The table.
And Jamie can park at the moon.
No longer applicable.
Well, it's enough of them to be on the table to have a conversation. It's not enough of them to close the deal.
So for Caicedo and Lavia, obviously Chelsea were the more alluring prospect.
And interestingly, it would be, and we'll never know this, but what were the parameters? Maybe some, mild-mannered janitor of a journalist will ask him a question, and I get the answer from him about the reality of why I chose Chelsea over Liverpool.
They will, of course, they will. There's one from Big Kenneth. Caicedo and Lavia obviously had agreed Chelsea some time ago. They honoured their word. They were always going to say no to Liverpool. And Big Kenneth seems well informed. I wonder what Little Kenneth thinks.
Well,
Come on, lads, you're better than this.
That makes Jamie. Then you go to Jamie's point about the lack of preparedness.
Yeah.
To accept the fact that you need more replacements alongside the ones you're going for, because you're already in a slightly invidious position that you're pitching a woo to somebody that's already been, pitched a woo to. And so with that in mind, I think the criticism is unnecessary. I don't think it's necessary. I think what they're talking about is the fact that Jamie lives in a land where Liverpool, the moment you mention Liverpool's name, it's a done deal. But that world doesn't exist anymore. If you'd closed your eyes 10 years ago and put Liverpool and Man City in the same conversation, most players would have chosen Liverpool over Manchester City. But that world has changed now.
Yeah,
you've got elite coaches, enormous money, enormous achievements.
I know what you're saying.
So the idea of the history of Kevin Keegan, John Tossack, David Fairclough, Super Sub coming on, all these things that have been done, they're for the past.
Yeah. Well, it seems that way
minds.
Because Caicedo and Lavia have both said yes, thanks to Chelsea. The lure of Liverpool, is it diminished somewhat? Seems that way. 03717 2233 448 1089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.